What's good? What's good? What's going on, everyone? I don't know why you say goodbye. I say hello. How's everyone doing tonight? Hope you guys are having a wonderful evening. Thanks for joining another episode of the Judge's Corner, and it is Monday, February 6th, and we got a great show for you guys tonight. We're gonna get into the Kyrie Irving trade. We're going to get into Brian Flores being hired as the defensive coordinator for the Minnesota Vikings and so much more. NFL opening night for the Super Bowl happened tonight as well, so we'll dive into that. And I got my good friend with me, Anthony Cobbs, man. Anthony Cobbs is in the house. Look at him. He's already ready for the Super Bowl, man. He is fired up. He's feeling good. What's going on, AC?
Yeah, man, it's same old thing, man. Just getting ready for Sunday kickoff. I got my helmet on. Coach put me in. All I need is my mouthpiece, my chin strap. I'm ready to rock and roll, big sports judge. I'm in the building, man. It's all good. It's the calm before the storm. So we're just getting ready to get going, man. Everything else is still everything. Let's go.
Oh man, let's get ready to get going, man. And I'm so excited. Like, this is one of the best weeks in sports, And I know there's plenty of other weeks that brings as much excitement as we are seeing right now. But man, there's nothing like Super Week in the NFL. And I know tomorrow's gonna be crazy because you got media day. You got people who come from all walks of life. You got people who show up in wedding dresses to try to marry a quarterback. You got so much happening. You got people that pay just to go see that event, which is crazy to me. But you got people doing that kind of stuff. But man, we have breaking news in the NBA. And that's gonna be our first topic. We really gotta talk about this because this was a huge trade. This was a blockbuster trade for the Dallas Mavericks. The Dallas Mavericks got it done. They acquired Kyrie Irving in a trade. And this trade comes with a risk. It comes with a risk. I think the Dallas Mavericks know that. It comes with plenty of risk. But Dallas may have had no other choice because, look, they had to keep their superstar player content. And one way to keep their superstar player content was by adding another superstar to that roster. And they did that with this trade. And this makes the Dallas Mavericks look more interesting now that they have Kyrie Irving. I know Kyrie comes with a lot of baggage. I know his behavior sometimes is unacceptable. We all know that about him. But man, AC, I want to hear your thoughts on this. What do you think about this trade and how will it impact the Dallas Mavericks moving forward?
I'm looking at the Dallas Mavericks roster. And if you remember back when the Mavericks won the championship with Dirk and the team of Batman and Robins. Well, it was Batman and Robins, a bunch of Robins. And you think, is this a move to win a chip? Or is this a move to sell tickets and sell some jerseys and to be relevant? Because right now, the Denver Nuggets are the class of the West. The Dallas Mavericks are right now Luka's show. You bring in the circus that is Kyrie Irving, ultra talented, probably the best handle of all times, arguably. But the off the court stuff comes with it as well. Does that championship ingredient material? You got two guys. You got Luka and Kyrie, two of the most talented, skilled guys in the world who both need the rock in their hands to show how special they are. Does that equal championship? No, we've seen it for the Los Angeles Clippers for the last 3 or 4 years with Paul George and Kawhi Leonard. Right. You got two of the most dominant players in their age group playing together. It makes great regular season highlights. But I'm not that impressed by this trade for the Mavericks. I think they're still far away. They got rid of Finney-Smith and Dinwiddie. They didn't get better to me. They just got more interesting to watch. So I think this is just a chess move by Mark Cuban to sell some more tickets. They still a couple players away, in my opinion. I think Kyrie may be happy about this because now he doesn't have to sign a long-term extension and he can still go play with LeBron next year if he so chooses to. So I just know that we're excited about the what if, what maybe might happen, but we don't know, man. Come on, sports judge. We don't know if this is going to work out. You've seen Luka play. It doesn't translate into playoffs. It's just fun to watch for the 82 games during the season. And then you got Kyrie. We're not sure if he's going to play half the time.
Right.
So it's just a matter of time before we see how this is really going to pan out. We thought the Nets were going to win 7 championships a couple years ago when they got the big three. All this stuff looks great on paper. We never know until they get into some serious fire and see if this combination is really going to work. It's definitely going to be fun to watch. They're going to be on Sports Center making highlights. They're both ultra talented, but they're not leaders. That's a stat that you cannot count. Leadership and championship pedigree. Kyrie has a little bit, but that was LeBron's team. Kyrie just got to be the most talented Robin of all times. So we'll see what happens, sports judge. I'm not that impressed by it.
Right. I mean, and a lot of people feel that way. You're not the only one that feel that way. There's a lot of Dallas Maverick fans who didn't like this trade. You know, they feel like they mortgaged their future by giving up a lot to get Kyrie Irving. And Kyrie Irving can sign somewhere else after this season because he will become a free agent.
Yep.
You know, so it's not a sure thing. But was this move made to try to win now? Was this move made to keep Luka in a Dallas uniform? And that's my belief. But we don't know. We don't know how Kyrie Irving is going to look with the Dallas Mavericks. And I said this yesterday. I did a video on this. I talked a little bit about it yesterday. If Kyrie Irving is locked in and focused and he doesn't create a toxic environment, this trade can actually work. Now, if he's going to take a 3-week vacation or he's going to play 2 games and decide to take 2 nights off afterwards, then that's going to be a problem because we know that Kyrie Irving has been a prima donna, has been a diva, has been this drama queen everywhere he's been, right? He's been a problem child everywhere he's been. So that's why I was hesitant on the Lakers or any team for that matter pulling off this trade because look, you don't know what's going through Kyrie Irving's head. Like you don't know if he's going to be fully committed to your team or he's going to decide to one day quit on your team if it doesn't work out. You know, what then what? Where do you go from there? Because this guy has shown time and time again that he's gonna flake out on your team. You know, and he uses these convenient excuses to get out of it. You know, we seen him protest social injustice, and I'm fine with that. I mean, I'm fine with you being an activist. That's cool and everything, but at the same time, you got an occupation, and your occupation is to be a basketball player. You can't just decide not to play basketball because something traumatic or something eventful happened in the country that just you know takes your mind off of basketball. I mean, I wish I can do that with my job, like just take time off, you know, just to protest, but we can't do that, right? We gotta go to work every day.
Oh, I'm gonna come to Kyrie's defense on that, sports judge, because he can, and he did. He just, you know, don't pay me. He's just kind of like, I think he's such a forward thinker. Not to defend everything he does. I don't agree with everything he does, but for the most part, he's not a bad person.
Oh no,
he's a little selfish. He just kind of does some things that he thinks in the moment are the right things to do. When it comes to protesting, when it comes to making a stand, when it comes to speaking his mind, I appreciate that about Kyrie Irving. Now, would he be my favorite teammate in the world? It'd be tough. I would have some words for him. And saying, yo, man, if I'm here, you need to be here. But, you know, I don't think going into Dallas, he's going to bring that at the beginning. I mean, again, I think Los Angeles would have been the best place for him because LeBron James is probably one of the only players he truly respects. Because he was there before. Now he realized the grass was not greener on the other side. He had a good thing when the king can kind of like he can absorb all that media attention that Kyrie somehow gets And sometimes it looks negative because of the way he approaches it, or the way he might articulate. This is a very smart guy. I mean, our Kyrie is very well learned, very well read. He went to Duke. I mean, he was one of the first one and dones at Duke. So, Mike Krzyzewski knew this guy's talent was out of this world and that they can intellectually conversate together. So he did respect him intellectually. And you look at my GOAT, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. He was a lot like Kyrie in that fashion. He was very militant and very outspoken and very hard to deal with the media. So a lot of those things, a lot of these players, just let's be truthful about. Are you a Kobe fan, Sports Judge?
Hell yeah.
I think Kobe Bryant was one of the most difficult people to deal with on and off the court before his retirement. When he was a player and focused in on winning championships, Kobe was a pill. I mean, I had an opportunity one time. I'm playing, I remember going bowling, and one of my buddies was friends with Elton Brand. And Elton Brand was going to bring some of the players with them to bowl with us. And he's like, "You want me to call Kobe?" And we're like, "No, because if Kobe comes, he's going to mess up the whole game because he's going to be so competitive and such a jerk that we're not going to appreciate the night we were going to have just playing some lanes." So it's just, you knew how he was tough. He was difficult. So I know that a lot of these personalities that are ultra talented, they didn't get there by being nice guys. Michael Jordan was a jerk. Kareem was a jerk. Rest in peace, Kobe Bryant. He was a jerk. All these guys were ultra competitive and awkward. And so I met Kareem in the training room at UCLA, and he wasn't nice. He was like, get out of my way. He was a mean dude, but he was the best at what he did, and I had to respect that. That's the captain. So I think we're gonna look back in Kyrie's career and say, yeah, he was different, but at the same time, that boy can ball. He just needed the right situation. Can Luka handle it? Now, have we heard from Luka? Have we heard from Luka? Is he happy about this? Did he want this? Or did Mark Cuban want this? And he can sell some tickets and some TV merchandise advertising at this point in juncture of the season. That's what I would like to know.
That's a good question. That's a really, really good question. How does Luka feel about this? Does he feel like this can work out? And before we move on to our next topic, I just want to say this about Kyrie Irving. Man, Kyrie Irving can ball. The guy can flat out play.
Flat out.
I don't think any of us ever questioned his competitiveness. I don't think any of us ever doubted his ball handling skills or his ability to play basketball. What we have questioned is his character and his behavior, both on and off the floor. But I think this has a chance to be something great for the Dallas Mavericks. Irving has often been a star whose skill and promise has led instead to drama, disappointment, and ultimate failure, right?
Yeah.
But this could work out. I'm interested to see how it does work out with those two in the backcourt together. I think if Kyrie Irving is laser focused, I think if he brings his A game and if they're able to avoid the distractions, I think this could be the toughest backcourt in the second half of the season. I think this could be the toughest backcourt in the NBA.
I agree, but I think it'll tell the story will tell itself in about 10 games. If Kyrie comes on, like you said, ultra focused and ready to win some games, he's looking for a long-term contract. If he comes out back-to-back nights, he doesn't play, he's not out there finding a way to get the ball to Luka or Reggie Bullock or whoever was out there with them, and it looks like the Lakers the first half of the season. Remember the Lakers' first 10 games this year? Mm-hmm. And everybody ready to blow it up? I think right now they don't have that kind of cushion. So they're gonna have to figure out. I'm not even sure. Who's the head coach these days? Is it Jason Kidd? Who's the head coach?
Jason Kidd. Jason Kidd's the head coach of the Dallas Mavericks.
Then if Jason Kidd, I mean, if Kyrie don't respect Jason Kidd, you know what I'm saying? Like I know he didn't respect Steve Nash,
right?
But he has to respect. I'll take that back. Steve Nash, 2-time MVP, and Kyrie called out his non-coaching self, but Jason Kidd has been around the block. He's been coaching for a while. So I think it will be a little bit different. He'll listen to that voice of a point guard who's played and is coached at a high level. because Jason Kidd took the Nets almost to the championship. So I think this will be interesting to see the first 10, maybe 15 games, how they gel. I give it, it's going to be rocky at first. Who's going to pass the ball to who? I think Kyrie has played off the ball with LeBron, and he's been successful at it. But at this point in his career, is he ready to be second? Because I don't think he'll be first. This is Luka's team. And I know
Luka's team. And you know what? That's the thing. Both of these guys are ball dominant, right?
Well, Kyrie can do both, though. Kyrie can do both. He shoots well enough.
Right. And he can take over fourth quarters when he's locked in. We've seen that with him. So it's going to be interesting to see if this works. If this tandem actually works,
I think there'll be a viable contender in the playoffs, but I don't think it's not championship ready. They still need a couple. Like, they let go of Finney Smith. Finney Smith's one of the top guys, defenders on the wing, right? I mean, you still have, Tim Hardaway Jr. You still have Josh Green, Reggie Bullock, Maxi Kleber. Markieff Morris is decent. But Dwight Powell, I don't see championship. This looks like the Lakers. This looks like the Lakers roster without LeBron and KD.
You AD. Still need some front court depth. That's something they don't have.
Yeah, I mean, I see one center on the roster.
They still lack front court depth for sure.
And it has an age on here. Yeah, JaVale McGee is 35 years old, man. Come on, man. This team ain't ready to win the championship. They can make some noise. Maybe win a first round series. Maybe.
Oh, they can in some way pose a threat.
Yeah.
And they can push and shove some teams around. They can be a little bit of a bully, a little bit.
Well, you figure how many people does it take to win a championship? You figure LeBron and the AD did it pretty well, but they had a good supporting cast that we keep, ignoring. Like, that was a good team that the Lakers won in the bubble with, and they let those guys go.
Right.
Even Dwight Howard was a viable. I mean, that was really stupid to me. Like, running back.
Right.
Running back one time.
Yeah, you had a great supporting cast. You're right. You had KCP. You had Kyle Kuzma.
You had dudes that was
had a breakout year that year,
coming into their roles. Yeah, they were finding themselves in their roles
into their roles, exactly.
But they didn't keep it together, and that's the hard part, man. That's why I'm like, I'm not surprised by the deep activity by Kyrie. I mean, James Harden showed him the way. You pout enough, you get what you want, and that's what's happening. That's what's happening. All right, brother.
All right, brother. Well, we're gonna kind of move into our next topic, and now we're gonna go over into the NFL. We're gonna talk a little bit about NFL opening night. Now, like I was telling you earlier, I think this is an exciting week for the NFL. It's a crazy week for a lot of these players because they're talking to the media, they're addressing the media. You saw tonight that they were surrounded by members of the media. Reporters were asking them questions, and it was just a great atmosphere. It was so much electricity out there, so much happening at one time. What are you most excited for this week? As an NFL fan and as someone who is excited about this upcoming Super Bowl?
I mean, I'm a lot like Alshon Jeffrey. The year that we won the championship, I'm gonna say we because I'm an Eagles fan. I don't necessarily like using the we, but our good friend Freddie likes to say we when he talks about the Lakers. I guess he's on the staff or he's either on the team. So I'm gonna say we, the Eagles. We're more concerned about playing the game. I think the week is cool for the fans to see how the NFL players, interact with the media, how they can laugh and joke and be personable, have some character on the microphone, cheese and smile, tell a joke and have some fun during the week. So the fans get to kind of know who they're cheering for behind that helmet and behind that jersey number. But I know for the players, it's probably a little bit hectic. You want to get to the practice. You want to get to your film work. You want to get back to your room and relax, but that's not happening this week. They've made this in such a circus all week long. It's going to take the real mature players to step up and make sure the younger guys are staying locked in. That's why I love my quarterback, Jalen Hurts. He hasn't changed his face expression since he got benched in Alabama for Tua Tagovailoa. He's been serious about it since he's been on the stage at Alabama. as
Yeah.
a true freshman starting as the first true freshman starting for Alabama, and then getting benched, and Nick Saban telling him go to Oklahoma and become a quarterback because here you're not going to play. And you take those chips, you put them on your shoulder, and you have an axe to grind about what's happened to you in your career, and you always understand that you have to always play with that edge. And they want to say I think you said one time this week, Mamba mentality. I think it's more of a Jordan mentality. Everybody can get these work and can get these hands because you did something, you said something. Even us Eagles fans, we didn't know that second round pick for Jalen Hurts would amount to this. This is something we did not foresee. And matter of fact, I believe
Right.
some Eagles fans booed when we drafted Jalen Hurts second round because we had Carson Wentz. We thought Carson Wentz was going to be the guy. We have to all eat our words and understand that Jalen Hurts is the dude, and we have to ride with him. He's on a rookie deal, so we're in a good space. He can ride this thing out for 3 years, and then we got to pay him. And I think at that time, Howie Roseman and the gang will say, "Hey, whatever you want, man, guaranteed $200 million because you're that guy. You work that hard. You're not shook by the moment. We're ahead of schedule. I thought we were 2 years away with this group, but this group is ahead of schedule. Jalen Hurts is super mature. We got AJ Brown, super mature guy, likes to have fun, but he knows how to turn the switch on. Kelsey, all those guys. I'm feeling real good about it. On the other hand, you have Patrick Mahomes on the other side, and you have to be ready for him. He is the one that we got to keep our eye on, and Kelsey at tight end, all the injured receivers. I want to hear kind of what, Andy Reid and those guys had to say about it during this week when they do the media day tomorrow. What's the temperature? How the guys feel about it? You kind of get little hints here and there, how they're feeling, how confident they might feel. At this point, it's all fun and games, but about Thursday, it's time to crank it up a little bit. Now guys going to be serious about the game plan. So it's a fun week for the fans, but for the players, you're getting a feel for what's really going to happen on Sunday.
Right. It's a fun week for those players, and they're trying to soak it all in. They're with their families, so it's a great week for their families as well. Their kids can be out there, have a little fun. You could tour the city a little bit, but you still got to realize, too, it's a business trip. You're there to handle some business, and you're there to take care of some unfinished business because you got a game on Sunday.
Yeah,
So you can't take your mind away from the game. You gotta be you gotta remember that there's a game to be
it's the
played.
big game. It ain't the Pro
Right.
Bowl. The Pro Bowl is
Right.
where you take your family and have fun. You didn't make it. You didn't make it. You here just to have play some flag football. These dudes are playing in the biggest game of their lives.
Right. A game that truly matters. This is right here. This is a championship right here.
This is history, man.
These teams have staked their claim.
This is history.
As being two of the best teams to outlast everyone else to get to where they are now. So, yeah, this game means a lot to those players, and you never know if you might get back. So you got to take advantage while you're there and try to win it all while you're on the big stage. And this is their opportunity to do just that. But I've always thought it was a fun week, for the fans particularly, and for the NFL players as well. They're out there living the time of their life and getting ready and preparing for what should be one hell of a game on Sunday, because I think this game is going to be really, really good, man. I keep saying that. I think this is going to be an instant classic. I think.
I think you posted
it has
something
the makings
about
of an instant classic.
Oh yeah, it should be. Is it going to be a shootout or a barn burner? That's what I want to know. Like, is it going to be 3 yards in a cloud of dust, or is it going to be a track meet? And I think the advantage goes to the Kansas City Chiefs if it's a high scoring game, because that's what they like. But if we're running the football under 30 points apiece, the favor goes to the Eagles. Like, we run the football, so we're going to have time of possession, and our defense is going to be rested. If you flip the script, they're throwing the ball every play. That defense is going to be tired, and I think that's football today. It's like those who have the courage to play balanced football, they conserve their team for the season, and this is the last shot. And hopefully, you haven't shot your wad come to the last game, a la the Chiefs, who have shot their wad where they got 4 injured receivers.
Yeah.
Now, I'm not sure who's going to be able to go, But you imagine how many pass plays they thrown this whole season. Of course, you're gonna get some guys hurt. So is this a matter of attrition over the season? But you'll see this week. I mean, all these festivities used to be the Pro Bowl stuff. They're doing that stuff with the players that are playing in the Super Bowl. So that's where it's kind of a little bit different. I think our next topic is the All-Star game or the Pro Bowl, But this is kind of like you've seen Rocky. Remember Rocky 3 when Rocky
I
was
do.
training to fight Clubber Lang and he was doing all this touring and
Yep.
having all this fun and
Yep.
Mick was like, you're not training like you need. You're not training like you're hungry. You out here partying and kissing women and acting crazy. You need to be focusing on this fight. Clubber Lang's gonna kill you. And that's what I think is going to happen this week during this Super Bowl festivities week. At some point, where we might be in trouble in that regard. We got a brand new first year head coach. Well, not first year, second year, but first time here. Nick Sirianni's first time here. Andy Reid been here many times, so he knows how to get his team to stop all the foolishness. Let's get ready for the game. So hopefully the veterans, the Fletcher Cox and who else was here in 2017, all our leftover veterans, Brandon Graham, those guys can get all those young guys to understand all that funny he key stuff is going to stop right about Wednesday. It's time to lock in. Let's get ready for this game. So, have your fun now, guys. You got about a day and a half left. Next to tomorrow, media day. Have a little fun. Wednesday, come punch the clock.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, yeah. It'll be a different mindset come Thursday. But man, we gonna get into some more fun. Well, it used to be fun. These All-Star games are not as fun as they used to be.
Now it's supposed to be super fun.
I mean, that's our next topic is the All-Star games. I mean, you could pretty much mention all these All-Star games. Really, you could bring them all up: the NFL, Pro Bowl, the NBA All-Star Weekend, the MLB All-Star Game. All of them are irrelevant. All of them are not what they used to be. They're not as exciting as they once were. A lot of people think these games are boring. A lot of people don't even care to watch them anymore. I watched the Pro Bowl. I will be honest and tell you, I did watch the Pro Bowl, the flag football game. And I sat there watching it. I can't believe I actually sat through half of that game.
You watched the whole thing?
I didn't watch the whole thing, but I sat through half of it unbelievably. and I lied to myself because I remember I went on record to say I wasn't going to watch it at all.
And I told you I was going to watch it for free. Like you said somebody couldn't pay you to watch it. I said, I'm about to watch it for free. Yeah, and I'm probably going to turn it off. Can
you believe it? I actually sat there and watched half of that game. And I can tell you, after seeing that the Pro Bowl, and I've been saying this for years, the Pro Bowl needs to be put out of his misery. There's no use for this game. Nobody cares. Nobody gives a rat's ass. No one wants to see the Pro Bowl anymore. Everyone's waiting for the Super Bowl at this point. That's what everyone cares about. So you might as well just cancel the game and get rid of it altogether because no one is watching.
Yeah, it looked real forced. I think they would have been okay just going with the skills competitions. Like, bring back the NFL's fastest man. You can continue the quarterback, precision contest. The is it the sauciest catch competition where the guys jumped on that mat and catch the ball? That's kind of cheesy. Some of the things that they had out there was kind of, they were reaching, but I mean, I'd rather watch the MLB All-Star game. I'd rather watch the NBA All-Star game because they've changed the scoring. Like the Elam scoring for the NBA All-Star game has changed that whole field for me. And them picking teams has made a good little extra added pickup feel. Like if this is the most talented pickup game of all times every year, and then they get to play in the Elam scoring every quarter is a win. And then the last points of the game, it has to be a certain number of baskets have to be made for a winner to be determined. I think that has raised the intensity of the All-Star game. And I've watched the last 3 in a row with those same scoring rules. So I think that's interesting. The NFL this year tried their best to get back in that ball game that the NBA and baseball I haven't watched a hockey All-Star game in a while. I think you watched it. I didn't watch it. So I didn't have any favorite players. I don't have any besides the Kings and the Flyers. I don't really watch that much hockey. So if I don't have any favorite players, I'm not going to watch the All-Star game. Same thing with baseball. There are so many guys that I have never seen play that don't play for the Dodgers. So I'm kind of not that into it. But the home run derby, I still watch that. I'll still watch the bad dunk contest for the NBA All-Star weekend, even though the top guys aren't entering the dunk contest like back in the day. And the three-point contest is always fun to watch. So I think the NFL is trying their best to compete with that. I think they failed miserably. I don't know what they could do. I don't know. Like you said, get rid of the game, but I think there's a need for the skills competition and the recognition of the guys making the All-Pro team and making the Pro Bowl is a big deal for players. But playing in the game, they could do without. So they got to find a happy medium, man. Recognizing them without having a corny game nobody wants to play in.
But here's the thing, AC. Do we really need these All-Star games? Because look, if you go back to the 80s and the 90s, technology wasn't what it is now.
Right.
Now you have YouTube, so you can easily click on to YouTube and you can check out a player's highlights. You can pretty much just Google any player's name and his highlights or his stats will pop up at you. You know, it's right there for you to see what this player is doing, how good he is, what he brings to his team, how valuable he is to his team. See, back in the day, when you lived in a certain market, you couldn't watch some players play. You would never get a chance to see that player if you lived in a certain region. Nowadays, with your mobile devices, with so many sports networks, a number of sports channels where you can watch multiple games out of your market, there's really no point for an All-Star game. It's pointless. It's an exhibition game. The game doesn't even count. You know, and yet we tried to make this game a big thing. And yes, I tune in because I'm a sports fan. So I'm going to sit there and watch it because, you know, to me, it's appealing because I'm a sports fan. I like sports. So I'm going to sit there and watch, but not your casual fan is not going to sit and watch that crap. You know, they're not going to sit there and be, you know, astounded by it because it does, for one, it doesn't count. And when you watch the NBA, let's use the NBA's All-Star game for an example. It's an absolute dunk fest. If I want to see that, I could watch that on Saturday night. I could watch that on Saturday night when they're doing the dunk contest or when they're doing the 3-point shootout. You know, if I want to see them jack up a lot of 3-pointers, or if I want to see them turn the game into a dunk contest, I want to see an actual competitive game that we used to see in the 80s and the 90s. Because when I was growing up in the 90s, you saw a more competitive game. These players played as if the game meant something.
Well, I think that's what the attempt of the Elam scoring being implemented was going to do. The first 3 quarters are, you know, push either way. That one team's going to win for their charity, the other team's win for their charity. And then the fourth quarter game, they're going to play hard. I think this comes back to money. You know what I'm saying? Like, you and I agree. The games are irrelevant when it comes to meaning, outcome, championships. It has nothing to do. They used to have the American League and National League in baseball. The winner of the American League, National League game hosted the home field advantage in the playoffs or in the championship. I think they've done away with that. That's not realistic or even, you know, worth it. They've gotten rid of that so there are no All-Star games that have any implication on the season. It's about money, man. The advertisement they can sell for an All-Star game, a city hosting an All-Star game, it's like the Olympics. That city makes so much revenue for that 1 week, and they trade it off for the big cities in the nation, just like the Super Bowl. Anything else, when they have the All-Star game, they rotate it for different city to city, and that city makes a ton of money. In addition to jersey sales, sneakers, they make special sneakers for the All-Star game. They make special jackets and shirts, and they make a killing financially. So I think that's why they keep it. Now the NBA needs it All-Star break for a breather and some time for the guys to get healthy. And it's a midway point for the team to get focused. So I think there are some purposes for this to continue on. You can't just do away with it. It is, like you said, part of history. How to bring back the competitiveness. I think they've done that in the NBA. The NFL, I don't think you can. There's too much injury that can happen in a football game if you play it all out. And how do you get guys to play all out except to pay them an astronomical amount of money, which would defeat the whole purpose of an all-star game, bringing in revenue, because you got to pay the players their salary to play in this game. And a lot of guys will opt out. That's how you get a Snoop Huntley as a quarterback in the all-star game. Like, how does the fourth string quarterback make the Pro Bowl? Like, this is Lamar Jackson's backup. And I feel like this is really fishy. Why is the backup making the Pro Bowl? I said, well, it sounds like the Ravens called in a favor to the NFL to say, hey, man, put our guy in the Pro Bowl so we don't have to pay Lamar Jackson his money. So it always does come back to finances, man. So we're going to have to live with it, love it or hate it. It is here. But how can we make it better? And I think that's what they're going to keep trying. They're going to look back at these numbers. Does this flag football game make it any better? If not, we're going to go back to playing tackle football and touch tackle, where you can't touch anybody. You can't rush the quarterback. You can't tackle anybody high or low. How do you bring them down? I don't know. I just heard they're going to get rid of hip tackling. When they show the Tony Pollard tackle again for the Cowboys versus the Niners, I believe, and Tony Pollard's ankle got rolled up on, and they're going to say that is an illegal tackle now. And I was like, well, you can't tackle anymore. That's just the last form of tackling is hip tackling, and now you can't do that. So I'm not sure what we're going to do with the NFL. It's tough, man.
Yeah, it really is tough. I mean, because you don't want injuries. You don't want a player to jeopardize his career for a game that don't matter.
It don't matter.
And so that's the thing to be concerned about, particularly if you're a player. But my man, let's move on. We're staying in the NFL. We're gonna talk about Brian Flores because he got a job as the Vikings defensive coordinator. Yes, the Vikings hired Brian Flores as a defensive coordinator. I like this hire. This was a problem for the Vikings last season, was their defense. It was very problematic. The defense was the weakest link on this team because we all knew how decent their offense was, decent enough to get them to the playoffs. You have Justin Jefferson, who had a monstrous year. You have Kirk Cousins, who holds it down as a quarterback. He does enough to provide some offense for his team. But then that defense lacked tremendously. And now you bring on someone like Brian Flores, who has the capability of being a great assistant coach, for the Vikings. What do you think of this hire, and how do you like it for the Minnesota Vikings?
I think the Vikings get a steal because Brian Flores is a head coach, in my estimation. I think he should still be the head coach of the Miami Dolphins. I mean, he's an excellent coach. He's a leader. Even his players say that. So when he was not retained as the head coach for whatever reason, and we usually always want to say, is it his skin color, his complexion of who he is as an African-American coach who can lead and have a strong voice in the locker room. The Vikings have received what they may have been missing, but I believe ultimately Brian Flores should be a head coach. I don't think this is going to be a long-term thing. The contract might be 5 or 6 years or whatever it might be, but the next head coaching job that comes open, Brian Flores should be a candidate because he's proven to me that he's one of the better coaches in the NFL. And the way he had to sue to get his name cleared up as why things went the way they went with I believe it was Belichick speaking on his behalf or whatever happened in that whole deal. It was a lawsuit that Brian Flores had to bring up against the NFL and how he was treated in his last job. But he was still able to be hired by the Pittsburgh Steelers, and now he's being hired by the Minnesota Vikings. So something must be right. And I think if you want me to be happy about his situation, let me know when he's a head coach, and then I'll give you a different spin on it. Because right now, I think the Vikings got a heck of a steal. They got a guy that's a leader, a proven defensive mind. He had that Dolphin defense, one of the top defenses in the league. and then they still let him go. So I just know that there is a lot there. Will it put Minnesota over the top? I don't know. I'm not a Kirk Cousins believer. I believe in Justin Jefferson and who else they got? Henderson. Did they pick up T.J. Hawkinson
TJ
from?
Hawkinson.
Yeah, they got a great offense, but you know,
The
it's
defense.
still the defense was lacking. Let's see if this makes the
Right,
difference. But there's
right.
still some pieces, personnel wise, that might need to be changed. But I think Brian Flores will definitely be an upgrade defensively for them.
Brian Flores is definitely an upgrade, but I'm with you. And I agree with your assessment. I think he should be a head coach in this league, and in the next hiring cycle, he will be a candidate, a hot candidate, and should be a hot candidate to be a head coach somewhere in the NFL. He's well deserving of it. He has proven himself as a head coach, and I'm with you. He shouldn't have been fired in Miami, but there was so much tension there was so much bias, and unfortunately it led to his departure in Miami. But yes, he should still be the Dolphins head coach, and that's not to take anything away from Mike Daniel, because Mike Daniel has come in and he has stabilized things. He has kept the culture and the team together. So I mean, he's done a good job, but still Brian Flores was that guy, and it was very puzzling to me, like a lot of fans, that he got fired. A lot of people were confused. A lot of people didn't understand why, he got fired after, the Dolphins had fairly a decent season, you can say. What did they finish, 8-8 that year or something like that?
They were a quarterback away. They were a quarterback away, and
right.
Tua matured. I think it was because Brian Flores wanted to bring in Deshaun Watson. I think that was the major thing, that was the discrepancy between ownership and the coaching staff and the GM, was who's going to be the quarterback. And he was kind of like, I don't believe in Tua. I need Deshaun Watson. And at that time, Deshaun Watson was off limits because of his off the field antics. So, with that being said, they got rid of him, brought in Logic. That's what I call the coach for the Dolphins. Logic, the rapper. He looks like, somebody who might have a drop of African-American blood in him recently, and he kind of fits the mold. So he checks a box if you want to get to a quota, so to speak. So it all happened the way it happened. They think they pacified us all, but I'm still not, I'm not satisfied with that. I think Brian Flores was done wrong, and I won't be happy till he gets a head coaching job.
And I think, again, before we move on, I think also the reason why he is still not a head coach in the National Football League is because he stood up for himself. He stood up for himself. He didn't take any of that nonsense from the NFL, and he filed a lawsuit against the league. So yeah, I think that had somewhat of an effect on why he is not a head coach in the National Football League.
Great point. You don't mess with the shield. You don't go against the shield.
Right. And when you do that,
he's lucky to still be employed.
Right. That can kind of set you back a bit, and I think that's what it did. But hey, he was entitled to voice his opinion, to vent his displeasure, and he did. And it takes a lot of courage, and you got to be able to sacrifice a lot of things to actually stand your ground, in which he did. And I think he did the right thing. I think he did what he felt was right. Not only did he stand up for himself, but he stood up for all black coaches who he feels is deserving of an opportunity in this league, and who should have a chance to be head coaches in this league, because we got a lot of less qualified names, who got coaching jobs and probably shouldn't have gotten them. But then you have these other defensive coordinators of man of color who, once again, got overlooked, got turned down, and are still either offensive or defensive coordinators or out of a job. I mean, look at Byron Leftwich. I don't think he should have gotten fired. But
it wasn't his fault. That was a bad That was a bad team. I mean, this
And,
is
and then you have some idiot try to tell me that he had a bland and vanilla offense. I don't want to hear that. No, that's ridiculous. That you don't know football to say something that's stupid.
yeah.
You
I
know?
mean, this is the same offense they ran to win a Super Bowl. Like
Right,
it
exactly.
wasn't bland when they won a Super Bowl.
It wasn't bland when they won the Super Bowl. Exactly. Thank you. So, I mean, it's that kind of stuff that Brian Flores stood up for. He was the one that, and you got to have that guy, right? You got to have that guy with the that voice. You got to have someone who is bold enough to actually speak up for the rest of the pack, and he did that. He spoke up for black coaches out there, and that's why he is having trouble landing another coaching job. But over time, uh, we will forget about this. We will eventually move on, and he will have another coaching opportunity somewhere out there.
And if it don't work out in the NFL, he can always go back to college and run the show. So,
Absolutely.
if he wants to do that, if he wants to be a head coach, but he can still, have a very illustrious career as a coordinator. But I think once you've tasted the success of a head coach, you want to see how far you can go with that before you go back to being a coordinator. So, again, hope he gets what he wants, and I hope he's satisfied in the position that he's in.
Oh yes, absolutely. Now we're gonna move on. We're gonna talk a little baseball. I know baseball is still a few months away, but A Rod, my man Alex Rodriguez, man, he was seen in Vegas partying, having a good time. He was seen with multiple women, according to the reports from what I read. And he's living the time of his life. Now, this dude is a ladies' man, okay? Let me just say that. He loves women. He obviously can't sit still. We all know that about him, right? And sometimes he changes girlfriends like he changes underwear. We know this much about A-Rod, right? That's the guy he is. But what do you make of this story with A-Rod? I mean, he's in the news for this. This is what everybody's talking about. I know it's a slow time in the newsroom for baseball. They don't really have a story on baseball right now, and this is the best they can do is talk about A-Rod and his personal life after being seen, I guess, in a nightclub somewhere.
I think you're talking about the wrong story, Judge. I think you're talking about Aaron Rodgers in Vegas. A-Rod ain't been in Vegas since
Oh,
2021. You're talking about old stuff. You're trying to get that man in trouble with his wife, man. That's not the same dude. You're going to get that man, his
oh
wife.
man.
Hopefully, if his wife is watching this show, he going to be like woken up from a nap. Wake your butt up. What were you doing in Vegas?
My bad. Aaron
You,
Rodgers.
you
Well,
get that,
hey,
you get
you
that
know
man in
what?
trouble.
Hey,
His
you know
wife.
what? Hey, if I get him in trouble, I get him in trouble. Because you know what? Hey, look, let me say this. Aaron Rodgers and A-Rod are just alike in so many ways. They can't sit still, and they both have multiple girlfriends.
That the same
They,
dude.
hey, it's the same dude, right? Just in a different body. Okay?
Yeah,
So,
man.
hey, to all the viewers out there watching this, I made a terrible mistake,
You
but
need a Steve
hey,
Harvey.
look,
You just
hey, look, I made a good mistake
that's a
because
good mistake.
both of those guys are similar in so many ways. They can't sit still. They have a different girlfriend each month. They're out there. They seen on photos,
You get that
doing all
better.
types of stuff. In the general public, it's crazy. So, AC, tell me about A-Rod. Tell me about Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers is who he is. He looks like he could appear on a Bachelor or something like that. He looks like a reality TV star.
He looks like Negan from The Walking Dead. Aaron Rodgers, man, being seen looking for homes in Vegas, being seen with a picture of a Raider pirate on a piece of paper. He's such a cryptic guy. He wants to keep you on the edge of your seat. He doesn't want you to know what he's doing. He wants to host Jeopardy. He wants to do things that just make you think. He wants to go on and talk show or go on a podcast and say some stuff that make you wonder this guy's dedication to football. He reconnects with Devontae Adams and let's hook up one more time, Devontae, and see what we can do. I think he is headed to Vegas for one last hurrah. Since Tom Brady has retired, he is now the old guy on the block where he can pretty much pick. Is it Arizona? Is it going to be San Francisco? Is it going to be Vegas? Does he want to go out like Brett Favre and end up in the New York Jets, green and white? It's crazy. It's not something that I think we should spend a whole lot of time looking at, because he could hold the Green Bay Packers hostage the same way Brett Favre held them hostage, talking about retirement, talking about leaving, talking about staying if you give me my friends back. All that stuff is every single year, and you'll never know until after camp, so he don't have to go through OTAs. He's got this stuff mapped out. He's got the NFL in the palm of his hands, and he's laughing all the way to the bank. So being the former MVP, recent MVP, last year, was it? Is that recent as last year? Aaron Rodgers was the MVP of the NFL. And if he ends up in Vegas, again, he'll sell some jerseys. They got weapons. You got, Adams and Waller and Renfro, Jacobs at running back. You got some, and Hollis at receiver. You got some good weapons to throw to. So you won't have the same problem he had in Green Bay. All quarterbacks really want to do is throw the football and complete it. So I think he'll get that. Will he have a Super Bowl contender? It's still the Raiders. And it's so far in between when they make it to the championship. But can he be that piece? I don't know. Aaron Rodgers only has one championship. Can we knock him down a notch that he's not the greatest of all time? I think he needs a little bit of humble pie. So let's stop talking about Aaron Rodgers like he's Tom Brady.
Because he's definitely not Tom Brady. But yeah, you know what? It seems like the Raiders is a preferable destination for Aaron Rodgers moving forward. Look, he will reunite with his good friend.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Adams. Both of them miss each other. Let's not kid ourselves. Let's not sit here and act like they don't, because they do. Davante Adams misses Aaron Rodgers as much as Aaron Rodgers misses Davante Adams. So it's a mutual feeling there. And those guys were a great wide receiver quarterback combo. They had a great connection, one of the best connections. And Aaron Rodgers, if he wants to go out with a bang, the Raiders is a perfect fit for him, because, like you said, he would be surrounded with all types of weapons. He has a lot of weapons at his disposal if he joins the Raiders. It's a team that's ready to win. You got Darren Waller. You got a pretty good defense out there as well. You got a good product on the field. So it only makes sense to see Aaron Rodgers land with a team that's playoff ready, that's ready to make a run for a potential championship, which the Raiders are. I mean, you go to a state where there's no taxes. You go to a state where you get to reunite with your old friend. You also go to a team where it's an indoor stadium. It's not as cold out there. It's a different environment, different atmosphere, a change of scenery. So yeah, seeing him in a black and silver uniform makes a lot of sense. And I think that's his next destination now that Brady has retired, because my initial reaction was that Brady would sign there if he didn't announce retirement, but Brady announced that he's retiring. So now it opens doors for Aaron Rodgers to potentially explore his options and potentially land with the Las Vegas Raiders. And it wouldn't surprise me if he is their next quarterback come next season.
Absolutely right. Don't surprise me at all. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if Tom Brady takes his kids for the weekend and decides to come back and joins the 49ers. I'm not surprised by anything these days. Anything's possible.
Anything's possible in professional sports now. Anything. But AC, man, we ran out of time, man. We had so much fun tonight on this show.
Hey, man, it goes fast, man. All right.
Hey,
before we go, man.
When you're having fun.
Before we go, man, I shot you an idea. Now that Tom Brady is, retired.
Right.
LeBron's about to pass Kareem, probably the next game. And now we're throwing it out there. Now I'm not talking about GOAT, but real quick. Who had the best career? Let's add Serena to the mix.
Okay.
You got LeBron James from a kid to now, fulfilling every expectation and going on to break records. And you got Tom Brady, 7 championships out of 10, going down as possibly the GOAT. They're trying to say the best football player of all time, but I think that's not possible at quarterback. You can still be the most accomplished. But Tom Brady's career. And then you look at Serena Williams and everything that she's accomplished. Who top 1, 2, 3? These are some of the best careers we've ever seen in our lifetime. Who had the best career?
Ooh, that's tough because all 3 of these sports figures have dominated in their respective eras. All 3 are gonna be undisputed GOATs. I mean, there's no question about it. They're all undisputed GOATs, right? They all have been the greatest in their sports. Shoot, it's really hard to say. I like what Tom Brady has accomplished, and I know it's not always great to measure players by the number of their championships, but Brady has won 7 Super Bowls. When you look at what LeBron has done, he's only won 4 championships, and he's bounced around from a few teams, right? He's played in Miami, he's played in Cleveland, he's now with the Lakers. Tom Brady needed 2 teams to win 7 Super Bowls, and he went to Tampa Bay in one season and led that team to a Super Bowl. Led that team to a Super Bowl. So if I was to make that argument, I think it would be Tom Brady.
Oh, wow!
Tom Brady is the GOAT of all of these 3, and Serena is close too, because
I'm saying it's an individual sport.
I mean, it's hard to say because this is a hard question to really respond.
All right,
to.
Let me help you.
It's very subjective too because it could go either way.
I like to look at the whole totality of it all. If you say it's Tom Brady, you're a DC Marvel comic guy. You saw the scene in Endgame where she asked Thanos, "What did it cost?" And he said everything. Tom Brady's at the hotel by himself right now. No kids, no wife. It cost him everything, but he gets to go down as one of the GOATs. LeBron James, wife intact, kids doing well. Got schools in his name, still gonna break more records, gonna play with his kids. Serena Williams, foundations, helping people around the world, feeding starving children, most Grand Slams by a female athlete, didn't need a team, didn't need a super team to win her Wimbledons and US Opens. So it's like, how do you put Tom Brady, who needed Belichick, who needed Bruce Arians, who needed really good defenses, he needed a lot of help. Football is a team sport, ultimate team sport. And Tom Brady's the ultimate team leader, but I can't say I would want his career over LeBron's or Serena's because of what they have after the game. LeBron's going to be good. He got a school. He has no smut. Serena has no smut. Right. It's like Tom Brady got cheating on his record. He got Deflategate.
That's all good points.
Yes, I don't know if I would want to be Tom Brady because right now Tom Brady's at the house by himself, and he's not with his kids. That would destroy me if I put everything away for this season. He didn't have to play last year. His wife was begging him to not play, and he played anyway. And then he don't have her no more. So I'm like, I will have to say LeBron, Serena, then Tom if I'm going,
I got you. And put that comment back up real quick. Truth Be Told Sports, I believe. I had a comment that says Serena hands
down Serena. I can't argue with that.
That's a fair argument too.
She's a GOAT of tennis. I mean, she might have a couple of contemporaries, but for me, I got Serena over Martina Navratilova. I got LeBron's career over Kareem's career. I don't say he's the GOAT. I'm saying career. Whose career would you want? That's kind of where I'm at with that. All right, man. I ran up all your time. I'm sorry, brother.
Nah, you good. Hey, you know what? This was another awesome episode of the Judge's Corner, man. I really thank all our viewers out there for tuning in. Thank you guys for joining us tonight. It was an awesome show, and we'll be back here on Wednesday for another episode, and it will be back on Friday as well. We do this show 3 times a week, and I'm always joined by either AC, Freddie, Alana. I got a great team of podcasters who join me for this show, and it's always fun to chat with everyone. But again, you guys made the show great. Thank you guys for tuning in. We had an excellent show tonight. Another great success. Thank you to the producers behind the scenes. Thank you to Key. Shout out to Freddie. Shout out to everyone who makes this possible. We'll be back Wednesday night for another episode.
Shout out Freddie James.
That's right. Shout out to everybody. We're checking out tonight. Thank you guys again. You guys enjoy the rest of your night.
Fly, Eagles, fly.
Stay cool.
Peace.
Peace.